I want to tell you all a story, not just a political story, a deeply human story. A story about a man who flew to Egypt to sit beside his sick, aging mother. A man who cut short that painful visit, boarded a plane back to Nigeria when government agencies summoned him. Not for over a month. And while he was locked in that cell, while lawyers filed motions and agencies bounced him from one custody to another, his mother, the woman he had left behind in Cairo, died without her son by her side. Let that breathe for a moment. Within a single week, at the end of March 2026, Nasir El-Rufai lost two close relatives. First, his sister-in-law on Eid al-Fitr, and then his mother, Hajia Umar El-Rufai, who passed away in Cairo, Egypt. A man who went abroad to nurse his ailing mother was arrested the moment he came home out of respect for government summons. The ICPC, which had repeatedly denied him bail for weeks, only released him on compassionate grounds to attend her funeral. Only then, after she was already gone. His son, Bashir El-Rufai, posted online, "My beloved great legend of a father is being released from his unlawful and illegal detention at the hands of one of the most corrupt agencies in the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Our family shall never forget these times. Our family shall never forget these times." That is not just an anger. That is a wound that will never fully close. And across the north of Nigeria, millions of people read those words and felt something crack in them. Now, let us go back to the beginning. On the 16th of February 2026, El-Rufai walked voluntarily into the EFCC headquarters. He was granted bail 3 days later. But had he stepped through those gates, armed operative had laid an ambush for him right there on the EFCC premises, and he was immediately rearrested. He suffered a nosebleed in detention. His own wife was denied direct access just to bring him food. His wife, food denied in 2026. When the EFCC claimed wiretapping equipment was found at his Abuja residence, his wife, Hadiza Isma, fired back on social media. She said, and I quote, "I was there. No such equipment was found. They lie. But why?" That one desperate word, "why," echoed across this country, and nobody in Asarok had a decent answer. What was El-Rufai's own verdict on falling out with Tinubu? Well, he did not mince words. In a Trust TV interview, he declared the philosophy of this government as being contrary to everything. "I've been taught as a Muslim," he said, "a northerner and a Nigerian. They came to govern the cake, to reach themselves. We are different people, parallel lines that we never meet. Parallel lines that we never meet from a man who helped build the very road that carried Tinubu to Asarok." As one Nigerian columnist wrote bluntly, the Tinubu administration can't wish away Nigeria's Tommy Petrel and Infant Terrible. Infant El-Rufai. Shunting him out of this administration is a tactical error. Shutting him out of this administration is a tactical error. It is Tinubu's quagmire and may well prove to be a grievous error and his nemesis. And that same columnist reminded us that El-Rufai braved all odds, rallied the governors, and even went to court to stop the Naira redesign crisis that was suffocating Tinubu's campaign. In other words, El-Rufai played no mean role in ensuring that Tinubu sits on the throne today. And how was that loyalty repaid? With an ambush outside the EFCC gates. Now, here is the part that should genuinely terrify the Tinubu's political machine. Because El-Rufai is not simply a former governor. In northern Nigeria, this man carries a political weight that goes far beyond his personality. He is walking symbol of what the northern masses loved about Buhari era. And that connection, emotional, almost spiritual, is what makes his arrest so explosively dangerous for 2027. Senator Ali Ndume of Borno South said it plainly on Channels Television. The followership for Buhari has been occultic. You cannot explain it. If Buhari is coming here now, you will see people rushing to see him. Everybody, including those in the vegetable market, will rush here. Buhari is still with the Talakwas. Buhari is still with the Talakwas occultic. Not loyal, not devoted, occultic. That is the depth of the emotional bond between the northern masses and anything that carries Buhari's name. Buhari's politics, Buhari's legacy, and Rufai was that bridge. Analysts noted that Rufai and Atiku Abubakar were seeking to tap into Buhari's personal cult-like support that no other northern politician possesses, to build a formidable alliance against Tinubu in 2027. The ADC coalition builds its entire northern strategy around leveraging the discontent of the Buhari bloc. Individuals who facilitated Buhari's rise but now feel utterly marginalized by this administration. Rufai was the face that ordinary northern voter could look at and see Buhari's DNA. He was their translator, their chairman, their rage-giving voice. And Tinubu's administration chose to put that man in handcuffs. Former Vice President Atiku Abubakar described the entire episode as politically motivated, arguing publicly that Rufai, like every Nigerian citizen, has the right to make independent political decisions without coercion, and that respecting this freedom is the very foundation of democracy. When Atiku, a man who clashed with Rufai for years, stands up and says this is wrong, you know the anger in the north is real, and it is deep. In Kaduna, youths flooded the street. Placards read, "Free Rufai now," and Kaduna demands governance, not revenge. The Arewa youth leader, Ibrahim Modibo Sanusi, stood before the crowd and declared, "We are here to register our displeasure over the continued detention of our leader. Justice must not only be done, but must be seen to be done." He then warned that if Rufai was not freed, they would mobilize a 1 million man march on Abuja. 1 million march over one man. Before all of this, Rufai had looked Tinubu in the eye through a television screen and said, "Tinubu will at best finish third in 2027. He has no pathway to win. I have done the math." He told Tinubu to invite former President Goodluck Jonathan for coffee and ask him whether having money, INEC, and the police and the army guaranteed victory in 2015. He did not. Jonathan had all that, and the people still sent him home. These wars carry an entirely different weight now that those same agencies have been turned on the very man who spoke about them. As one analyst wrote, the administration's push has highlighted concerns about politicization of national security institutions, a charge that ironically fuels the perception that the criminal justice process is being weaponized, and the North is watching who holds the weapon and who is bleeding. Every court appearance, every adjournment, every day bail denied, every white heelers driving Rufai away from courthouse, it writes a new verse in song that millions of northern voters will be humming as they walk into the polling booths in 2027. This was not a smart politics. This was not a strategic. This was a big, costly, irreversible mistake. And Nigeria will feel the consequence. Share this video Drop your thoughts below. The 2027 story has only just begun. Please, if you are new here, hit that subscribe button. Until I see you on the next video, remain blessed.